Thank you. Hey everybody, it's Carl here with another podcast brought to you by Wolf Official. Okay, so today we're going to talk about motivation and self-education. The 14 key principles that you need to know to be successful with your business. Thank you as always for watching the previous podcast episodes, and you can check me out at wolvofficial.com. That's WOLV official.com. Alright, so we're just going to jump right into it. So, the first thing is work. The first key principle is work. So, a lot of us have different opinions about work, and some people agree that creating a residual income or passive income is the way to do it, and I totally agree. But when you're creating passive income versus working a 9-to-5 job, there's a fine line called boredom. Boredom is usually handled through staying active and enthusiastic about what you're doing. Now, as long as your business that creates residual income is making you happy and enthusiastic, then by all means do it. And you'll most likely have an easier lifestyle. You won't work as hard, and if you have the 9-to-5 job, you're most likely going to be working pretty steady all the way through, and you got to show up. That's the thing about 9-to-5 is you got to show up. So you don't necessarily have to pick one over the other. I personally use the residual income. I like to create different products and put them out on the marketplace. And that way people can pick and choose, and it's just like your own boss. If you work for yourself and you're working the 9-to-5, like you schedule your own hours and whatnot, then it's kind of the same thing, but then again, you're stuck because you've already made yourself, you've disciplined yourself to work the 9-to-5. You got that taken care of. So, here it is. You're still your own boss, but the thing is, you're working too hard. That's the difference. You're working too hard. Residual versus 9-to-5. You're just working too hard. Now, I'm not going to go too far into making products and stuff like that. I just wanted to cover the basics of work. Work is always going to be there. Everybody has to work. You have to work at something. You got to create something. Some type of project needs to be done before you can collect the benefits. You can't just sit there and expect money to just come in or whatnot, or people to start following you. You got to do something, and then you take action. So we'll get to the action part later. But the second key principle is research. I love to research. Researching is absolutely the most critical part of any business. I don't care what you say. Researching has everything to do with how you research and what you're researching for. When you start to research, the most important thing to remember is staying on topic. If you're getting too distracted bouncing around like a Google maniac, and I do mean that in a professional way, you're going to find that you're researching a lot of different things when really, you'll be researching a lot of different things that come to mind, but unless those are effective and they somehow apply towards your goals and dreams and business model and products and services, then it's totally irrelative. So, for example, you wouldn't be researching something that didn't have to do with your business, the weather. Today's weather is pretty much something to be researched, but it has nothing to do with your business, I don't think. But you kind of see where I'm going with that. Another example is looking up famous actors and actresses while your business is needing you to attend to its mission. It needs you to focus on its mission, so you would look at certain things like, how can I better my business? And that is the research. You want to, I can probably give you a few tips here real quick on research. When you're researching, go ahead. I'm just going to tell you exactly how I do it. No ifs, ands, or buts. I'm not going to beat around the bush. All right, I open up the laptop, and I go to a few things that I've been working on, and I noticed that For example, my sales and my music they're climbing. So I want to figure out how I can get more sales. So I'll go into Google's research bar, or Google's search engine, should I say, and I'll actually figure out how do I get more sales through a third-party service provider. And I'll research everything there is to know. I'll look at my email threads to see what kind of messages I've been getting, with who I've been subscribed to, and I'll kind of just research, and I'll look at these different influential people, and I'll see, and blogs too, and I'll look at these podcasts, and I'll look at these emails, and I'll see exactly what is going on. I'll see exactly how many different avenues of approach I can use towards this business. Do I need to work harder? Do I need to come at a different angle? Like, what do I need to do to better it? Researching also applies to general knowledge, life. Always be researching, always be reading, always be listening, but mainly researching involves learning something new. You don't want to you don't want to keep beating the dead horse, per se. I mean, you could, but I would highly recommend that you learn something new, because when you research and learn something new, you're gaining a different perspective on how you can grow your business. There's not a whole lot more to tell you about research other than research itself is essential for any business to survive. You don't have to be all right, let me rephrase this. You can be the CEO, or you can be the smallest guy on the ladder. All right, it doesn't matter. Researching is absolutely essential. Anybody can do it at any level towards your personal life, or the business that you work at, or the business that you own. Researching all the time will make you a better person. Do you have to memorize everything you're researching? No. But should you write it down? Yes. Should you keep it in a book? Yes. And you should flip through that book, and you should be focusing on important... there's a lot of... let me get to the point here. When you put stuff in your book, you should be putting things like concepts, strategies. Don't just copy everything down. You want to put down formulas. Stuff like that, that's going to help you in real life, get you to where you need to go. And always keep a calculator with you. Always be adding up numbers, researching, figuring out for a real-world example. All right, the other day we were driving down the road, and we noticed some property, a billboard sign that said, check out our website.com. And we looked at it, and I just kind of researched and looked around the website, see what it looked like. And I kind of looked at the properties and how much they cost and how big of the acres they were. And I was just getting a general idea. I was researching. I was figuring out what the average income was in the city that I was at. I'm constantly researching the most craziest things. That's the funny thing, is I research the craziest of things. I mean, they're very relative to the business, but they're also very wise. You could use the word wise. A wise man would research this particular subject, so it would help him out with another subject in his business. So you can see where I'm focusing all my attention on for the business and how I can grow it. That's the research part. And wow, researching is so important. All right, let's move on to the third key principle, and that is results. Now, when we set goals, for example, running a marathon, we want to see results. We want to measure those results so that we can see if we're going to be realistically close to end result, which is complete the marathon. Now, researching beforehand, yeah, that's good and everything. Results, though, you want to see results. Results are so important because they're actual numbers. Like, they're giving you figures. They're telling you, okay, your results are low, your results are high. You're impacting, you're not impacting. Results come in many shapes and forms. For example, subscribers to a blog, likes on a picture, or dislikes on a picture, or viral activity of a page on Facebook. You want to see charts, you want to see results, you want to see numbers, you want to see all that over time. Wow, that's That's how you set goals, and that's how you accomplish goals, is by results. Always measuring results. The number 4 key principle is persistence. We all become research maniacs, and we get results, and we work hard, but somehow along the way, people, usually our friends, get us a little off track. They spend our money in the wrong direction, from experience. But the only thing that has kept me alive in my pursuit is persistence. I never once let somebody tell me that I couldn't make music. I never once had somebody say that I couldn't dance. I never once had anybody say that I couldn't start a business. People to this day still say, Carl, you don't have a business. And I say, Carl, you do have a business. You've been in business. And that's how I look at it. It's what you think, and it's persistence that gets you ahead of others. Trust me on that. When you're persistent, everything else just seems to come together. Everything comes together. We all have many different likes, wants, and needs. And oftentimes those wants and needs, they don't come so clear after a while. We may feel like we lost our goal or we didn't stick to it. And it gets a little confusing, I know. I know it gets confusing. But if we stay persistent, if we stay focused, and bring clarity to our eyes, and finish our goals, we will be fine. Staying persistent means that you're dedicated, and it will all come together. Persistence is key. You've all heard it before. If first you don't succeed, try again, and eventually you will succeed. Okay, the number 5 is emotions. Have you ever got bad news? Why, yes, you probably have gotten bad news. You probably got bad news when you heard that you didn't get the job over somebody else, for example. Now, when we hear bad news, we need to remember one thing. Don't let our emotions take over us. We have to remain almost neutral to the news ahead of time and all the time. That way you can use better judgment. It's like asking a third person who's watching a fight, what do you think? He's going to give you a neutral perspective. He's going to say, well, I see you two fighting, or I see you two arguing, or not communicating well. He's going to give you that while both of you are just completely tempered. So the important thing to do is to keep control of your emotions. Even when you gain profitably in a business, or you lose profitably in a business, you want to make certain that with all the knowledge that you've learned, you remain, what we'll get to a little bit later, is confident. Confidence, okay, we'll get to that later, but the knowledge that you have is what's going to get you through those ups and downs. So plan on staying humble, plan on staying neutral, plan on staying calm for the rest of your life, because that's how it's going to be. You're going to have to stay calm. You're going to have to act as if $1 million doesn't faze you when you get it, because you've worked so hard to get there. There's no way that you're just going to blow it on something silly, because you'll know how to recoup it. And even if you did blow it on something silly, you'll know how to recoup it. All right, so I think to sum that emotions part up is just stay neutral. Learn everything you can so that you can recoup your lost investment or make more money than you already have. Keep the money that you do have and have the problem of having too much money. Great. So next is number 6, and that is confidence. Confidence is a tricky thing to learn, because you can't just be the alpha male. You can't just be the tiger, the lion, the king of the jungle. Confidence is actually developed over time. You start small with, kissing a girl before you think it's okay, and you just kiss her and you figure out what happens later. That right there is risky, but after a while, that's how you develop confidence. And I'm not saying go out there and kiss girls who don't want to kiss you, but what I am saying is do things that you are uncertain about, but have good intentions and good faith, and believe what you're about to do. That's about as straight as I can shoot you with. And after a while, your confidence will develop. When people start talking about you, whether it's good, bad, or they just don't care, but they're still talking about you, you know you're on the right track. So keep at it with the confidence. Let me give you another example of confidence. When I used to, or I still do, but back then when I was going out and performing on stage, I didn't think that I could remember all my lyrics when I was going on stage. I really did not think that I could. But then after a while, I was like, you know what? If I mess up, I mess up. And then boom, one day I just completely messed up. I butchered it. And I told the guys while I was on stage, I said, hey, guys, I swear that I did this perfectly like 4 hours ago. And it's just a new song, and I'm flattered you're still here because I butchered the song. And I started over, not the same song, I just started a different song. Anyway, after a while, you learn to not be so scared. You learn to just be confident in what you're saying. And eventually you will succeed if you haven't already. You have it inside you. You really do. You just got to let it out. Open your mouth and let it out. But let's see here. So that's confidence. We've all had confident times in our life where we felt really confident, and it's like no one can touch us. And that's what you want. In a healthy, simple, humble way, be confident. Just be confident in yourself. Like, don't try to hurt anybody. Just be confident. Let's move on to number 7. Number 7 is being humble. Humble is one of the greatest treasures I've had in my entire life. Where I learned it, I will never remember. But I've been humble since, I think it was wrestling season when I was younger, maybe 10 years old when I won the state championship. I realized that I worked very hard at that. I won the state championship, but for some reason, the person that I was wrestling with as my partner during practice before that, he didn't win the championship. He, in fact, just didn't compete very well. And he would always beat me at practice, but I would beat him in live competitions. And that kind of just got to me. And long story short, I became humble. I'm just like, there's always somebody better. There really is. There's always somebody better. And you got to stay humble. If you don't stay humble and be open to learning new things, then you're a fool. I will say that straight up. Because think about the last time that you thought you were right or you made a mistake and you knew you were wrong and you pretended like you knew what you're talking about. Kind of bear with me here. I'm trying to spit this out. When you're humble, you're actually open to learning new things. You're not stuck up, because if you're stuck up, then you're closed to learning new things. And if you're closed to learning new things, you're never going to learn. You're never going to raise your standard of living. Great. Let's move on. Humble is number 7, and number 8 is resources. Let's see. Resources. Now, resources, in my opinion, the best resource that you have is a library. Libraries are full of books, full of computers, full of magazines, full of audio tapes, videos. Wow, the list goes on. And you have librarians there that'll help you out if you don't know how to work the system to find what you're looking for. But pretty much what I do is I go in the library, and while I'm there, I like to sit down, pull out my laptop, use the Wi-Fi, and research. But while you're there, you need to realize that that's an important resource that you have. The library is an important resource, and that's where you can get some of your biggest learning on, because whether you go in there by yourself or with a very smart group of people to get what you need to get done, you're there because everyone else is there to learn. You're not out on the streets. You're not actually getting into bad trouble. You're not, you're not up to no good when you're in a library. You're up to some good. So, resources also come in many shapes and forms. The internet is another resource. People that are older than you who have already walked your shoes, granted we all walk a different path, the people who are older than you have a different perspective on things. Life is short is usually what they're aiming at, and they're trying to teach you something if you would just open up and listen. And I personally don't like to talk when I'm talking to old people because I know there's so much they can teach me. Every now and then I'll say, yeah, I'm proud of myself and I think that I'm going to go places. We all like to talk highly of ourselves, but oftentimes they will give you the key to success. They are your biggest, there we go again. Yeah, they are your biggest resource. And let's see if I can give you another third one. Another resource is school. How about that? School is a great resource for networking and getting to know the people around you and what they're up to, because they're usually up to some good. They're also very hard workers like you. If you're not in school, just go to a school library and talk to people who are there and get to know them. All right, number 9 is being grateful. Being grateful, as soon as you wake up in the morning, you need to be thankful for what you got. Be thankful that you woke up. Be thankful for the shower you're about to hop in. If you don't have a shower, I'm sorry. But I hope you work and you achieve that and you have the standard of living that you worked so hard for. But being grateful is important even when you become rich, wealthy, and popular, whatever. You need to stay grateful so that more things can come into your life that will raise your standard of living and hopefully bring more happiness to you. Being grateful is one of the key principles, and that's why I listed it on here, because if you're grateful, it's like no one can really say anything to you because you're grateful for what you got. You know, you worked hard, you're grateful for the stuff that you got. Simply put, being grateful, you can research it, you can look more into the definition if you'd like, but I think it pretty much speaks for itself. Ask your questions throughout the day. What am I grateful for? All right, moving on to number 10. Great. Number 10 is excited. When you're excited about stuff, you're inspiring others. If you're passionate about stuff, you're inspiring others. Ask yourself, what am I excited about today? What can I create to make myself excited today? And after a while, you'll just be excited about life. You'll be excited about these new opportunities, new products and services you're going to come out with, and it's going to be great. See? You're just excited. You're excited about everything. And when you're excited about stuff, it changes your whole outlook. You become healthier. You become braver. You become bold. You become engaged. You're excited. You're enthusiastic. Just learn how to stay excited throughout the day and be persistent. That's where persistent comes back into play. Excited and persistent together. Woo! All right. I don't know if I can say anything else about being excited other than don't let people take you away from being excited. Stay excited. They're going to say, why are you happy all the time? But you know what? If you keep smiling, they're going to be like, what the heck? Why is this person still smiling? And you know what? It's because they're happy. They probably know something that you don't know. And it's good that if you see them smiling, just smile with them. You know what? Forgive people. If they're smiling because they're doing something badly to you, forgive them and smile back. Be the bigger man and stay excited. Okay, great. Moving on to number 11. Number 11 is time. Woo! Time is time is the most important thing to me. In my life right now, I realize that I maybe got 60, 70 years left, right? Because I'm 24 now. Now, I can choose to sleep my day away, or I can choose to open my eyes and try to stay awake all day while learning new things and establishing myself in the market and making myself more profitable as a business. Okay? So time. Here's what we can do. We can keep an agenda. We can keep a time log of all the things that we're doing. I recommend that for the first month or so. But then after that, you're kind of going to realize that writing what you're doing every second isn't always productive. So don't think that's some kind of thing that you got to do. But I do recommend it for about like a first month or so, just to get you understanding how important time is and what you're actually doing with your time. So having said that, we all have roughly 80 years, give or take, on this planet called Earth. Now, if you choose to focus all your attention on something that's not productive or not essential to your business so that you can have a good standard of living and not work the 9 to 5, which is what I don't want to do. I really don't. I'm trying really hard not to. But time is a valuable thing. There's so many quotes about time is money. Gosh, I can't think of them, but it's just, I hope you can hear in the tone of my voice that time is important. You only got a certain amount of time. We all have 24 hours in a day, and we all do things differently. Sometimes we just do one thing, one mission a day, and those are big missions, and they get us ahead further than others, or we do a lot of little things with our time, and those add up. There's no wrong or right way to do it other than do something. That's it. Time is all about just doing something. Don't think about things, write it down. Where people can see it, spread it, put it on a blog. Writing down things just completely balances it all out. Or taking a video. You're doing something, and that's filling up time. It's not busy work, it's productive, remember, towards your business. I don't know if there's anything else I can add to that other than time is a valuable thing and you should not let it go to waste. Time is the difference between, or having a lot of time is the difference between growing your business by 1 million to 100 million because of compounding interest. That's one way. Time also is good for if you are trying to, you just need time to market something. You need time for people to subscribe so you can come out with this next newsletter and explaining your next product. Anyway, time is a key principle no matter what. If anything, focus on keeping the time, saving the time, or making do with the time that you got. And be thankful. All right, number 12 is support. You need to have a good support system. If you don't have a good support system, such as people who love what you do and recommend that you do this or that in your favor, and they love what you're doing and they want more from you and they support you, and they may not always agree, but you need to have a support system. Usually it's the family. Not always the friends, because the friends will take the money, but the family usually is going to be your best support system. Or when you go to meetups like meetup.com, those guys will also be a good supporting group, but keep in mind they're ready to take your money too. But that's a great place to be because you're going to be learning. Any type of meetup is really fine, just as long as it has to do with your business, of course. But those are good support systems for networking. Networking is a different thing, but having a good support system, people who are constantly updated with your new products, like on your email list that you submit to, that you broadcast through, your email list where you post stuff and have follow-ups. That's a support system. People who are sharing your stuff and big fans of your product and services. Okay, the number 13 is environment. You need to place yourself in an environment that allows you to create, such as the library, such as being alone, such as in a Barnes & Noble, Starbucks, Borders Books, although I think Borders Books is out of business now, sadly. I love bookstores. But you get the idea. Your environment, whether it's camping, being away from somebody, up in the mountains, going on a marathon, wherever you can go to get your head straight and focused on your next big hit, on your next big mission, on your next big product. You need a place so you can step back, apply, write your content, learn, observe, where you can be away from everybody else, where there's nobody there to threaten you, where there's nobody there to say you're doing this, you're doing that wrong. A place where you can be alone and you can focus on your next big hit, your next big move. All right, moving on to the last one, and that's application. The most important thing is to apply yourself. Apply yourself after you learn a concept. Do not think about it for more than a half hour. Do not think about a concept that you just learned and know that it's going to make you $1 million. Drag on for more than a half hour before you apply that pen to paper or those fingers to pads on the iPhone and start typing away, because you need to apply what you just learned. A thought pops into your head, you write it down. Write it down on a piece of paper and start getting focused. Focus all your attention on writing content, taking pictures, do something to apply yourself. Application is a lot more important than sitting around and doing nothing. It's more important than just researching and doing nothing. You can research all you want, but that's not going to do anything if you don't apply yourself. Thank you guys for listening to the podcast by Wove Official. My name is Carl. I'm the founder of Wove Official. That's about all the time that we have for today. I want to say a few things. Thank you for following me this far, and those of you that are supporting, God bless you, and keep working hard. Okay.